So I want to talk a little bit about just arranged marriages and ask you if you can talk a little bit about how that whole idea in like the year 2000 and now. So there's a little bit of a pushback against that expectation by your characters, the 20 somethings.
All these things that I think, isn't it like everything? Things kind of almost come full circle. So uh when that was set, you were still had, yes, there's a lot of youngsters who were fighting against this find somebody for me mentality.
Mm-hmm.
um I don't want an arranged marriage, I want to do the love marriage. This is because why shouldn't we, and everything. But it's funny because you're coming back now, you have all these programs out there, Indian Matchmaker and things like that, whereas now you've got youngsters who are older professionals who don't have time to find people, or
That's
they
interesting.
are
Yeah.
their sell by date in some people's eyes, but they're like, no, I want to find the right person for me, so I'm going to engage in a matchmaker myself. It's not my parents. Whereas in the old days, it would have been your family, your aunts,
Right.
uncles, people who know you, people who collate all of their friends and families, young children's names in heart, so they know when they hit a certain age, right, I think it's time for us to start suggesting people for you. So it was very much a community effort in some
Mm-hmm.
respects. There was always that one person or those two people who seemed to know everybody and had suggestions constantly. And then you had that pushback, and a lot of the marriages tended to be love marriages.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like I'm seeing a lot more of it, except it's an evolved version of an arranged marriage. Going back, way back, arranged marriages were such that sometimes a man and a woman wouldn't have even seen each other physically.
Mm-hmm.
Things were agreed when they were kids. Yeah,
Right.
you've got a daughter now, and I've got a son, so we're going to make our friendship into a family relationship, and we're going
Mm-hmm.
to promise it to each other. So you grew up knowing you were promised to somebody else. That was one version. And then you got to the stage of, yes, being introduced to people constantly,
Mm-hmm.
suggested people, suitable people,
Right.
uh, and meeting them, and this element of, sitting in a room with the whole family and then being allowed to go and talk to each other for a little while, and then coming out, and then, almost having to make quite a big decision of your life
Mm-hmm.
within the space of, half an hour meeting almost. And that did evolve as well to the stage of, yeah, we like each other, but we want to know each other more. So, you can go out for dinner or something once or twice, but not much more than that. You've got to make your decision because people will talk otherwise. And then again, that pushback did start to happen about people meeting somebody themselves. The love marriage aspect of things did come about. But now, like I said, it's not that. I think there's also a value in arranged marriages, in
Mm-hmm.
that you're looking, because I think marriage very much, especially in the Asian community, you don't just marry your partner, you're two families coming together.
Yeah.
um you do have to know if there's going to be a gelling of
Yep.
the family as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, so it's one thing when there is love marriages, that's not going to be the first thing on somebody's mind. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that a love marriage is the wrong way to go. I mean, my husband and I, we were a love marriage. I wasn't an arranged marriage.
Right.
But that there is a lot to be said for that almost vetting and
Mm-hmm.
um, meeting of families and minds before you actually,
Right.
commit to somebody. And I do think that is coming back. I mean, it's a different level of matchmaking nowadays that
Mm-hmm.
happens, because it's probably more led by the individual, whereas before it was the
Right.
family elders who were making all the suggestions.
Right.
Whereas now you'll that the individual in question, the guy or the girl, will be more, this is what I want, this is what I'm looking for, what can you
Right.
find me, and then matching people together to see how they, you know how they work, whether it is going to be the right thing or not. And it's not the same push of time, like, we need to know within, half an hour whether you've said yes or no. But then it's more like an arranged meeting, and then
Mm-hmm.
from that you can decide whether you're going to take it further and maybe date for a while. And sometimes it'll end up in a natural marriage, sometimes it ends up not because they've dated each other for long enough and realized this is not what we
Right.
wanted.
But that whole making suggestions, that goes on in other cultures too. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I
Just
mean,
the
even
name,
like,
really. Yeah.
yeah, and the younger generation, I mean, uh, maybe they're just more involved in the process. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you're always thinking, oh, those two might go together well, or whatever. Like, there's that human tendency to try to want to
Absolutely.
connect people. So yeah.